So menopause is actually not a criteria, it's a criteria to decide whether anybody can have a natural pregnancy or not. It's again a criteria to decide whether there is any feasibility of having their own biological child. That is menopause. After menopause, of course, the feasibility of a biological child declines or becomes zero. You have to opt for donor gametes, but pregnancy is definitely possible because we can supplement them with hormones and prepare the uterus accordingly, and then they can carry a pregnancy.
Welcome to Gen Seasoned. I'm Jahnavi Sharma and I'm speaking to Dr. Aswati Nair. She's a clinical director and fertility specialist at Nova IVF, Rajouri Garden, Delhi. She has over 14 years of experience in treating couples with infertility. Today's topic is reproductive health and fertility in your 40s. So welcome, Dr. Aswati Nair. It's a
Hello,
pleasure
thank
having
you.
you here. So
Hi.
why don't you give a short introduction about yourself?
Hello, hi. My name is Dr. Ashwati Nair. I am the clinical director for Nova IVF Fertility Clinics in Delhi NCR. So I have been associated with Nova for the past 10 years at their clinic in Rajouri Garden. And infertility for me was a subject that I took by choice after my post graduation in gynecology. And one of the reasons is that because this particular field of gynecology is something I feel requires a lot more empathy than the other fields. So, that was one thing that struck. And probably, I think it is in my nature to be empathetic. So I thought of taking up infertility, and touch wood, it has been a good practice so far. And with God's grace, I have been able to help people from almost 22 countries across the world to fulfill their dream of parenthood. Yeah. So it's been a very fulfilling and cherishing journey for me so far.
Okay, coming to the first question, are there any meaningful differences between early 40s and late 40s when it comes to reproductive potential?
Yes. Actually, if we talk about the reproductive lifespan of a woman, especially a woman of Indian origin, usually it starts somewhere around the time that the girl hits menarche. Of course, the actual reproductive age that we take into account is around 21 years of age and after that. So, when we talk about a reproductive lifespan of a woman, it starts from around that age till the time they undergo menopause. So, the average age for undergoing menopause in India is around 45 to 48 years of age. This is the average age. So, when we talk about pregnancies in 40s, of course, the early 40s, we still have a chance that the lady can have their own biological offspring. But when we talk about a little later 40s or mid 40 or maybe even later than that, the chances of conception definitely goes down because they are going very close to menopause at that time. So if we talk about what exactly happens or what changes is like every female child who's born is born with a fixed number of eggs in her ovaries. Usually at the time of birth it is in millions. So as the girl hits puberty, it's in lakhs, and then when she enters her reproductive age, few more lakhs get depleted. So at every stage that she enters, the egg numbers keep going down practically. So by the time she enters the reproductive age, she has a few lakh of eggs left, and by the time she hits menopause, she has hardly few follicles or few eggs in her ovary by which she can contemplate a pregnancy. So that is a physiological shift that happens after the age of 40. So what we are dealing with after the age of 40 is not only that there is a decline in the egg numbers or the ovarian reserves as we call it, but also the quality of eggs goes down because what body smartly does is it utilizes the best of the eggs in the early part of life. So whatever is left out, these eggs are quality wise a little deficient or they can have some chromosomal abnormalities, and so pregnancy after 40 becomes a little tricky in that respect also.
Okay. So what fertility tests are most useful for someone in the 40s if they're considering pregnancy?
See, apart from the routine tests that we do for all age group, like routine hormonal evaluation in terms of their thyroid function tests, the prolactin levels, the blood sugar levels, which could go high, diabetes being very common these days. Apart from that, if we specifically talk about the reproductive potential, then there are two basic tests that we do. One is a blood-based test. So a blood sample is collected and a serum anti-Mullerian hormone levels is evaluated. Now this test can be done in any day of the menstrual cycle and the results should approximately be the same all throughout the menstrual cycle. And the other test that we do is a transvaginal sonography, specifically on the second day or third day of the menstrual period, to understand how many eggs does the ovary have. Because typically on the second day or third day of menses, follicular recruitment happens and we get to count the number of eggs each ovary has, and that is how we can determine the ovarian reserves of the patient or the reproductive potential of that patient. Okay. So these are the two basic tests by which we can identify this.
Okay. And this is the same for somebody in their 40s or somebody in their 30s or maybe in their 20s also?
Yes. So this test applies to everybody in general, but more so after 40 because we know the egg numbers go down. We have to specifically look at this test.
Okay. So how reliable are markers like AMH or follicle count at this stage?
So it is actually quite reliable. Of course, there are a few patients where we can find a discrepant value. Like their AMH might be good, but their follicle count may not correlate. So in such situations, we always give more importance to the antral follicle count than the AMH value because ultimately it's a lab test. So lab test, every lab can have minor variations in the absolute value of it. So when we given a choice, if the two are discrepant, then we give more importance to the antral follicle count. But I would say they are pretty much reliable in understanding the reproductive potential, especially after the age of 40.
Okay. So has the success of IVF created what reproductive options are available for people in their 40s, early, mid, or late, who want to conceive?
Yeah, so usually when we see women in their early 40s, their egg reserves are no doubt on the lower side. Okay, but they still have, most of them, I would say, still have few follicles or eggs left. So for these patients, and usually it is always a desire for the female to have their own biological kid. And at Nova, we promote that. So in the early 40s, I would say we can still attempt a pregnancy with their own eggs. So we can go ahead with ICSI or IVF to reduce the time to pregnancy. And, sometimes if the reserves are very poor, we can go with something called embryo pooling. Embryo pooling is you collect as many eggs as you can and then create embryos out of it. And as I had mentioned that, at this age, the chromosomal abnormalities also could be high. We always have an option of getting the embryos checked chromosomally by a test called pre-implantation genetic testing for aneuploidies. And Government of India also gives a permission for testing the embryos chromosomally at this age.
Okay.
Somewhere around the mid 40s, I would say the ovarian reserve starts declining very, very steeply. So usually, as I told you, 45 is the average age of menopause. And as it's a common understanding that after menopause, the women will not have a natural pregnancy by herself. So beyond 45, depending on the reserves, most of the times what we observe is that beyond 45, the reserves fall down so drastically that these patients, if they are desirous of having a baby, then probably they would have to opt for a donor egg program or collect eggs from a younger patient or a younger relative or a younger professional oocyte donor from whom we can collect the eggs and then use their husband's sperms, fertilize them in the lab and then transfer the embryos back into the lady. So this is usually the option that can be explored beyond 45 years of the age.
And also beyond menopause?
Yes, also beyond menopause.
Beyond menopause.
So menopause is actually not a criteria. It's a criteria to decide whether anybody can have a natural pregnancy or not. It's again a criteria to decide whether there is any feasibility of having their own biological child. That is menopause. After menopause, of course, the feasibility of a biological child declines or
Yeah.
becomes zero. You have
Yeah.
to opt for donor gametes,
Yeah.
but pregnancy is definitely possible
Oh,
because we can supplement them with hormones and prepare the uterus accordingly,
yeah.
and then they can carry a pregnancy.
Has the success of IVF created a false sense of security about delaying childbearing?
You are partly correct here because IVF has really given a false sense of security amongst women. Because early on, it was, say, maybe we talk about 2 or 3 decades earlier, the thing was after you get married, have a child first and then settle yourself professionally or personally, whatever you want to do, but have a child first. This was the norm. But over a period of time, with the advancement of IVF and now IVF being so accessible to patients, so there are multiple centers across almost every city in India, so that patients have an easy accessibility to treatment. Of course, the cost of treatment also has a big role because cost is not that high that even a middle class family can easily afford an IVF treatment now. So with all this coming forth, what has happened is patients have started thinking, okay, even if we delay our pregnancy for some reason, we have IVF where we can still think of having a baby. But I think to some extent it's a false sense of security because it actually depends on the age of the female. Because if we talk about beyond 40, the chances of pregnancy decline. Even,
Yeah.
I mean, the chances of having a baby through self gametes after 45 is next to impossible. So,
Mm.
when they think about this, that, it can happen through IVF and we have IVF, we can resort to it anytime, that has actually created a false sense of security. I think, which as a reproductive medicine specialist, I don't think it's a right thing.
Okay, so who's the oldest patient who has come to you?
Yeah, so actually, there is a story behind that. So, the oldest couple that I treated were both 49 years of age. Now, unfortunately, what had happened with this couple was they had lost their only child during COVID. So,
Okay.
the child was 24 years of age, an engineer by profession. So, during COVID, all three of them landed up with COVID in the second wave. But unfortunately, this child passed away and the parents survived. So it was a big, big mental trauma for this couple. So initially, because the lady was borderline diabetic too, initially they were contemplating to go ahead with surrogacy. But at around the same time, we had this law coming up in India where commercial surrogacy was banned.
Mm.
And to get surrogacy thing was a little difficult. So then they decided to attempt an IVF by themselves. And so when they approached me, of course, I had to first ensure that I got her checked medically very thoroughly to ensure that pregnancy at this age should not have any harm to the lady herself.
Yeah.
Because see, for me, whoever is sitting in front of me, her life's value is more
Yeah.
important than anybody who's going to come.
Mhm.
So after a thorough evaluation, because we controlled her sugars, we made her go through a weight loss program and everything. When I found that she's medically fit enough now to carry a pregnancy, we did go ahead. Of course, it was a donor egg program for that couple, and after this, they were blessed with a daughter, and she's around 4 years of age now.
Oh.
So this was very heartening for me also because they
Mm.
had completely, with the child going, they'd completely given up on life. So
Yeah.
now I because they stay close by, I happen to see them quite regularly. Now I see that their life is completely back on track.
Okay.
So that really, as a
Mhm.
doctor, it gives me a huge delight.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
couple of decades back, maybe 20 years back, I don't remember. Remember reading in the newspaper that lady in her 70s
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
birth to a baby for her daughter through
yeah,
IVF
yeah.
in Pune, I think.
See, actually, now we have a law in India. So
Huh?
there's an ART Act 2021 which got effective from 2022, which clearly states that we cannot treat any lady beyond 50 years of age and
Okay.
any man beyond 55 years of age. So now there is a law. So
Okay.
these things that are coming up, this could be prior to that, but after the
Yeah.
law,
Now,
these things have stopped. And to some extent, it had to stop too. Because a
yeah.
lady who's delivering in her 70s, she's actually taking a huge medical risk on herself by
Yeah.
carrying a pregnancy at that age.
Yeah.
And plus, on the flip side, when we think, she's delivering at the age of 70, And what is the average life expectancy of a person in India? It is
Yeah,
close to 70, 75 years.
yeah,
So in another 4, 5 years, if the parents are not surviving themselves,
yeah,
what happens to that child?
yeah,
So that again is a very big ethical dilemma.
yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
So I think government was right in bringing forward this law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there may be risks to the baby also, right? Uh,
Usually at this age, when we go about thinking of pregnancy, it's usually a donor egg program.
okay.
But all said and done, whenever a lady beyond the age of
Mm.
40 or 45 conceives, she does have some medical issues during pregnancy. They could
Mhm.
turn hypertensive, they could turn diabetic very
Yeah,
easily.
yeah.
And these reasons could result in a preterm birth, or the pregnancy, the baby has to be delivered much earlier
Mm.
than when it is supposed to come out. So these preterm babies also can have their own challenges and issues.
Mhm.
So it's not completely safe for the baby as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what can one do in the earlier years to increase the chances of fertility later on in life?
So as a reproductive medicine specialist, I think one of the important things that we as a society don't think over right now, especially, and this I see in the women patients also and the male patients also whom I treat, is
Mm.
lifestyle. Because to some extent, blame it on the society that we live in, we have a completely erratic lifestyle, most of us.
Mm.
Many patients don't have a proper sleep wake pattern. We are addicted to our gadgets a lot. The dietary thing, the earlier dietary system that most of us would follow, it would be eating from home, occasionally eating from outside. This ratio is completely reversed for most of them.
Mm.
So we are kind of more on junk food than the actual food that is being cooked. you know so that is one thing that has to change, or that has to be corrected right in the beginning. So you have to have a proper well nourished diet, good exercise routine, and that is something again that is not being practiced in today's time, because we all are kind of busy in our world, and otherwise our gadgets take a lot of our time. So this routine exercises again, that is something which can be looked at. A regular sleep wake pattern. And the other thing is substance abuse. Now we see that lot of these be it women or be it men, they are into alcohol, they smoke very regularly. All these things also have a very poor repercussion on their reproductive potential. So for somebody who's you know by default wanting a delayed pregnancy, they should start looking into their factors, in these factors,
Mm.
early on in life, so that they keep it regulated, so that even in their 40s their fertility is at least maintained well, or at least the drawbacks of these things don't impact fertility at the age of 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are the main pregnancy risks associated with being in your 40s, and how are they managed? Because by that age, some people get
Yeah.
hypertension, diabetes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. So one of the indicators for pregnancy-induced hypertension, or most of the times women who enter pregnancy after 40s, they are usually a hypertensive prior to they getting pregnant. So they are
Mm.
chronic hypertensives already. So
Mm.
once they get pregnant, their hypertension definitely worsens. Also, pregnancy is a pro-diabetic stage for anybody. So beyond the age of 40, if you have a genetic history of diabetes, or if you've had a poor lifestyle, or overweight or obesity associated, then the chances of the lady developing severe diabetes in pregnancy becomes very much high. And all these things could result in impact of the baby's growth intrauterine. So even if somebody tries to go ahead with a donor egg gamete, where we are, minimizing the risk of chromosomal abnormalities, still all these factors could result in impaired fetal growth or impaired baby's growth intrauterine. So the baby can come out as an intrauterine growth restricted baby, where the birth weight of the baby could be less. It could be a preterm birth, and then all the challenges associated with that could come over. And the other thing that usually is neglected or is usually not understood is, usually as we all age, all our organs, their blood supply diminishes. So it's fairly said that uterus never ages. It is only the ovary that ages, even in a female. But when we talk about the blood supply to the uterus, it definitely goes down. So the chances of getting pregnant, even after creating a good euploid or a normal embryo, or going ahead with the donor egg program and creating normal embryos, the chances of this implanting as well goes down, because to some extent the blood flows in the uterus gets affected after the age of 40. So the chances of pregnancy also decline, and once they are pregnant, the prognosis again goes down. And here again, we are just discussing about females. I would want to tell you that, we usually think ki men don't age, and, everything remains all right, because all these chromosomal abnormalities and Down syndrome and the risk of other abnormalities we talk about, and we usually associate the female's age with that. So definitely, if the female is of a higher age, the male is also most of the times of the higher age. And beyond 50, it is found that even in men, if they are trying to have a baby beyond 50 years of age, then they can have chromosomal abnormalities because of defective sperms. So all these things have to be taken into account.
Okay.
Yeah.
So till what age can a man safely have a child? I mean,
So, usually it is said that till 50, usually if the man is not into any chronic addiction like alcohol intake, or, smoking, or tobacco in any other form, or has maintained a decent lifestyle, he is not obese, then till 50, his sperm parameters usually remain fine. And we don't find much abnormalities coming from the semen side. But beyond 50, yes, it definitely can have a implication, even if the man does not have any addiction, even with the normal semen parameters. Beyond 50, there could be chances of chromosomal abnormalities coming from the sperm side.
okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Nair, so many women are going in for egg freezing now.
Yeah.
So, is there a similar facility available for men like sperm freezing?
Yeah, a very interesting question actually.
Yeah.
See, egg freezing, because nowadays many celebrities are coming forward that they have frozen their eggs at an earlier age,
Yeah.
which help them conceive a healthy baby even in their early or late 40s, has encouraged many women in the society to take up egg freezing. So, I get quite a lot of patients every month coming at the clinic inquiring about that, and actually taking that decision of freezing their eggs. So, when we talk about egg freezing, why do we do egg freezing? Is because we all understand now that women, their egg numbers deplete and they have a biological clock. So the egg numbers go down as they age, the quality of eggs go down. So, vis a vis, when we talk about men, spermatogenesis or the production of sperms is an ongoing process throughout life.
Okay.
The egg numbers are limited. So, whatever the lady is born with, she's going to remain with those, and they will keep declining over a period of time. There is no production of new eggs. While in males, the sperms are being produced every 2 months in the body. So, usually, semen freezing is not very rampant, unless it is a medical indication. Say for some man who wants a baby in future, and who has to undergo, say, chemotherapy or radiation therapy for some cancer, or use of some immunosuppressant drugs which can decrease their ability to produce sperms in future, then the semen freezing option is explored by men in these situations only currently. Because spermatogenesis keeps happening, so they are kind of, men are that ways lucky that they don't have to go through, most men don't have to go through
Yeah.
semen freezing to preserve their fertility, unlike women.
Or if a man decides to have a child when he's say 75.
Yes, in that case, of course, they
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
In that case, of course, they can. Yeah.
But why is maternal age scrutinized so heavily when paternal age is often treated?
You are absolutely right here, actually. See, one reason for this could be the biological clock that we know goes through with females. As I told you, they are born with every female is born with a fixed number of eggs, and it keeps declining over their lifetime. And usually by the age of 45 to 48, when they undergo menopause, the reproductive lifespan just finishes. And this is something which is, ingrained in people's mind. And now with, so many educational programs coming in, people are aware of this biological clock. So many celebrities coming forward saying that they have frozen their eggs at an earlier age just to avoid this kind of issue of pregnancy at a later age. So many people are aware of this. And secondly, if we try to understand, see, female is the base actually, She not only gives an oocyte for a pregnancy, she carries the pregnancy, and that the period for carrying is 9 months. So in males, the sperm is the only factor that the man contributes actually,
Yeah.
apart from the emotional support that he's
Yeah.
supposed to give his wife.
Yeah.
Otherwise it is just the sperms. But in females, the ovaries become important, the uterus becomes important, the whole reproductive system, how it
Yeah.
functions, basically becomes important for a pregnancy to happen.
Yeah.
And I always tell, so I usually, it's a very funny thing that I want to share this with you. So patients in the OPD, they always complain. Female patients, they say, सब प्रॉब्लम फीमेल्स को ही होता है मैम, मेल्स तो लकी है, बस एक बार जाके सैंपल ही देना है लैब में,
हाँ.
बाकी तो सारे इंजेक्शन फीमेल्स को लेने हैं, सब कुछ हमें ही करना पड़ता है, इतने स्कैन्स गो थ्रू करने पड़ते हैं. सो
Yeah.
आई ऑलवेज टेल देम, बट यू आस्क एनी चाइल्ड, the mother plays the most important role in any child's life.
Yeah.
So what you get in return for all the trouble that you go through, all the scrutiny that you go through
Yeah.
as a female, you're the child that comes, that you will be the first person the child will always look up to.
Yeah.
So, Ma Banna is like the biggest thing that can happen. So, you have to go through all this trouble because of that. And it
Okay.
is actually a fact.
Yeah. Okay. So, can we safely say that risk of genetic defects, abnormalities in a child can come from not just the mother, and even the father is equally
Yes, very true,
responsible.
very true.
Okay.
It can come, and that can happen at any age.
Yeah.
Even a man can have some genetic issues prior only, like balance
Yeah.
translocations. There are men who are azoospermic, or they don't have sperms, but with technological advances, we can still have their baby.
Yeah.
But the basic cause of azoospermia could be some chromosomal problems. So
Mhm.
that can happen even at a younger age. But
Yeah.
yes, beyond 50, again, as I mentioned, there is a probability that the defects could come from the sperm side.
Yeah, the
So
risk
yes, when we
increases.
talk about it, yeah, the risk increases.
Yes.
So we can't just say that it is coming from the female side.
Yeah.
Males almost have a good decent amount of contribution to it as well.
Okay. And do sperm count and quality also goes down with age?
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
it
Because,
does.
as we understand, see, India is diabetes capital now.
Mhm.
Okay. So you say at least the percentage or incidence of diabetes in today's time at the age of 60 years, or say at the age of 50 years that we are talking about for any male, would be as high as 30 to 40%. Okay, so with diabetes comes in a lot of semen problem abnormalities. They have difficulty in having copulation or having intercourse because of erectile dysfunction, ejaculatory dysfunctions. So all these can contribute to a defective semen parameters as well.
Okay.
So yes, their count, motility, and the morphology of sperms, all three can decline with age beyond 50 years of age. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you wish more people, men as well as women, understood about fertility in their 40s?
So I would say that, fertility in their 40s should not be considered as a option. Okay. Technically, you should have explore your fertility, or rather, try to have a baby before that. But suppose the situation in your life is such that you anticipate that it is going to be beyond 40, make thorough lifestyle changes in your early 30s only, so that you maintain a good fertility at the age of 40. Of course, this does not guarantee your fertility, but at least make sure. And the other thing, the emphasis on regular health checkups to rule out hypertension, to rule out diabetes, that can be started very well in their mid 30s, so that they are very much in control when they actually plan a baby after the age of 40. So
Yeah.
I think after the age of 40 should I mean that the plan to have a baby after the age of 40 should be a very informed decision. Patient should understand the repercussions of it and then take the decision. Because for me, it is always wiser to have your babies at least in 30s, especially for a female. Beyond that, the chances are a little bleak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think with that we can close our session for the day.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
It
And
was
it
a
was a pleasure
real
talking to you.
pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.